bank accounts, without an application, without red tape, just showing up, automatically. Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm your trusted guide, and today's update might be the most important one yet, because Social Security is not just changing, but making the system better for the future, because it's not just one time you'll receive ongoing monthly increase. Yes, you heard it right. This is a lifetime fix, not just a one-time payment, and this money is yours. No strings, no penalty, no clawback. Just long overdue justice for people who gave years, often decades, of their lives to public service, only to have their Social Security benefits reduced unfairly. Well, this sounds all well and good, too good to be true, but what's the reality? Don't worry, it's true, it's official, straight up coming from Social Security Administration. It's signed and done deal. People are getting the benefit, but are they taxable? Is the most important question many people are asking me in the comments below. We'll be going to answer that in detail, addressing some of the common questions from the community as well. Some folks have been messaging us, I didn't get mine yet, am I still included? The answer is yes. If you're eligible, your payment is being processed, but they are rolled out in phases. Let's address some of the top concerns we keep hearing. Number 1, is this a scam? Absolutely not. This is a law passed by Congress, signed by the President, confirmed by the SSA itself. If you see anyone asking you to pay to access this benefit, it's a scam. Run. Don't give out personal info. The only way to check your status is through the official Social Security portal, not by phone, not on social media. Let me say this loud and clear. You don't need to apply. You don't need to fill out any forms. You don't need to call anyone. This is automatic, as long as you were affected by the now repealed rules. Now, a quick note on what's coming next, because while this is a one-time catch-up payment, your monthly benefits are going up, and this boost is permanent. That means every month from now on, you'll see a bigger deposit, and with COLA coming next January, that bump gets even bigger. It builds. This is the kind of snowball you want. More in July, more in August, more into the new year. And Congress isn't done. There's already talk of a possible savings supplement, a tiered monthly benefit increase based on income. Nothing official yet, but lawmakers are feeling the pressure. They know fixed income isn't enough. They know seniors are struggling. Rent is up, insurance is up, food is up, and this is just the beginning of change. This isn't just a typical update. This is a financial lifeline. If you're on Social Security, SSDI, or low income, I want you to listen very closely, because this could be the biggest payment you see all year. It's automatic, it's already approved. And if you're eligible, it's already on its way. So take a deep breath, and let's walk through everything you need to know. So what's really going on? This is not a bonus. It's not a COLA. This is a retroactive back pay stemming from a major legislative change, the Social Security Fairness Act. It was passed, signed, and now it's in action. That means millions of Americans who were shortchanged for years are finally getting what they're owed. How much are we talking about? On average, it's $6,710 per person, but that's just the average. Some are getting more, and yes, it's all real, confirmed by the current acting commissioner of Social Security. The system is automatically identifying qualified recipients. You don't need to do anything, no forms, no applications, just make sure your banking info is up to date. What if you moved or changed banks? That's where delays happen. If the SSA can't confirm your payment info, you could miss the direct deposit and be shifted to a mailed check, and that could take weeks. So don't wait. Log into your MySSA account and make sure everything is correct. Let's rewind a bit. Earlier this year, over $17 billion in retroactive Social Security payments started going out. That's billions with a B. This was the result of the Social Security Fairness Act, signed into law on January 5, 2025. This law repealed two major provisions that had been hurting millions of retirees for decades: the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. These two rules unfairly reduced benefits for people who worked in public service: teachers, postal workers, police officers, firefighters. They all paid into Social Security just like everyone else, but because they also earned a public pension, their benefits were cut. That wasn't just unfair, it was wrong, but finally, Congress fixed it. So what happened? A one-time payment, retroactive, covering back to January 2024, was issued to about 2 million people, the average? Around $6,700. And yes, some people received more, but here's the kicker, that lump sum wasn't the end, it was just the beginning. Because now, moving forward, those same people are receiving more money every single month. On average, about $360 more in their Social Security check. That's over $4,300 a year, and it's permanent, every month. For life. This isn't a temporary stimulus, this is a structural change, a correction, not a handout, it's money you earned, and now, finally, you're getting it. So let's be clear, if you were impacted by WEP or GPO, and if you've already received the back payment, your monthly benefit has gone up too, automatically, no application, no waiting list, no forms, no paperwork, just a higher amount, deposited like usual, every month. If you're not sure, now's the perfect time to log into your My Social Security account and check. You might already be seeing higher deposits without even realizing it. And it gets better, this monthly increase is on top of the cost of living adjustment, or COLA, which is added every January. That means future COLA increases will be calculated on top of your new, higher base, so you're not just getting a raise now, you're getting even more every year moving forward. Think about what that means. Let's say your benefit just went up by $360. That's already huge, but next January, COLA might add another 2 or 3%. That will now be calculated off the higher base, which means even bigger increases. Now let's pause here and talk about what this money actually does for people, because we're not just talking about numbers, we're talking about lives changed. That $360 can mean the difference between affording groceries or skipping meals. It can help cover prescriptions or copays you've been putting off. It can finally help pay off a credit card bill that's been hanging over your head. It might even mean enough gas in the car to visit your grandchildren. This isn't luxury, this is dignity, this is breathing room, this is justice. And here's the beautiful part, you don't need to apply. The Social Security Administration is handling this automatically. They've updated your record based on the law. If you qualify, you're getting paid. No hoops to jump through, no phone calls, no forms. Now, let's clear up some common questions before we continue. What if I didn't receive a lump sum yet? Don't panic, your case might still be under review. These are being processed manually and in waves, so as long as you qualify, it's coming. And yes, if you get the back payment, you also get the monthly increase. Now, let's talk payment delivery. Direct deposit is the fastest method. If your bank account is already linked to your benefits, that's where the money is going. If you're on a Direct Express card, it will load there. And if you receive paper checks, well, it's going to take a little longer, but the money is still coming. Payments are going out based on when your info was verified and when your recalculations were completed. Important side note here, this money is not taxable. That's right. The full amount is tax-free, and no, it won't count against your SNAP, Medicaid, or housing benefits. This is pure relief, and it doesn't impact your other support systems. So here's what you can do right now. Log into your My SSA account, check your payment history, look for anything marked as retroactive, correction, or recomputation. That's how these back pay deposits are being labeled. You might not even realize it landed already unless you go check. Also, check your bank account or your Direct Express card. Many people have already noticed deposits appearing quietly, sometimes without even a formal notification from SSA. Now let's talk about payment methods. If you're on direct deposit, that's the fastest and most reliable way to get your funds. That money goes directly into your account, no delays, no mailing issues, no waiting. If you use a Direct Express card, your payment will load automatically, just like your regular monthly benefit. But if you receive paper checks, please be patient. These take longer, and they're sent out by mail in batches. Depending on where you live, it might take 5 to 10 business days after the date it's issued to reach you. And here's a big one. If you moved recently, or changed banks, or had a name change, make sure that information is updated, because if SSA tries to deposit your payment and it bounces, you'll be moved to paper check, which adds another delay. Let's move on to something I know is on your mind, eligibility. Now remember this, you do not need to apply. The SSA is using your current records. That means if you qualify, they already know. These payments are being calculated automatically, based on your benefit history. What if I'm not sure whether I was impacted by WEP or GPO? Check your My SSA portal or contact the SSA directly. But here's a tip. If you worked in public service and had your Social Security benefits reduced because of a public pension, you were probably affected. What if I didn't receive any increase? You might not have been impacted by the WEP or GPO rules. In that case, you won't receive the back payment or the monthly bump, but you will still get COLA increases every year. What if I moved? Changed banks? Switched accounts? Easy, just make sure your information is updated in the My SSA portal. That's the only step you need to take. And let me say this again, no one from SSA will ever ask you for your Social Security number, bank info, or a payment over the phone. If anyone does, it's a scam. Hang up, delete the message, and report it. Your money is coming directly from the official source, no one else. Let's now talk about how and when this monthly increase shows up in your bank account. If you're on regular Social Security, that includes retirement or SSDI, your payment date depends on your birthday. If your birthday falls between the 1st and 10th of the month, you'll get paid on the second Wednesday. If it falls between the 11th and 20th, your deposit comes on the third Wednesday. If your birthday is between the 21st and 31st, expect your payment on the fourth Wednesday. SSI recipients usually receive their payments on the 1st of each month, unless that day falls on a weekend or holiday, in which case the payment is deposited on the business day before. No matter your group, your increased monthly benefit will follow your existing payment schedule. That means if you're used to seeing your payment on the third Wednesday, you'll still see it then, just a higher amount. The extra money will show up in the same method you've always used, whether that's a direct deposit to your bank account, a direct express card, or a paper check. For those getting checks by mail, remember they can take 7 to 10 business days to arrive. If you're living overseas, don't worry, you're still eligible. International banking delays can happen, but the increase still applies. Just be sure to update your banking and address information through the SSA portal to avoid any problems. And here's more good news. For most people, this monthly increase is not taxable, unless you have significant additional income, say, investments or a large pension. Your Social Security benefits will remain tax-free. For reference, the IRS generally only taxes your benefits if your total combined income is over $25,000 as a single filer, or over $32,000 for married couples filing jointly. Even then, only part of your benefit may be taxed, not all of it, so for most retirees, this new money is truly yours, without Uncle Sam taking a slice. And it won't affect your other benefits either. If you're on SNAP, Medicaid, HUD housing, or any other income-based federal or state program, this increase will not count against you for at least 12 months. That's built into the rollout. Your rent, food benefits, or healthcare eligibility should not change. That protection is there to make sure you don't lose more than you gain. It also won't affect your Medicare premiums. Part A, Part B, and any supplemental Medicare coverage will remain the same. This extra cash won't bump you into a higher tier or trigger additional costs. Now, maybe you're wondering what this means over time. Let's do some quick math. If your benefit increased by $360 a month, that's $4,320 more per year. Over 10 years, that's over $43,000. And again, that's just from this change, not including annual COLA increases or other future legislation. And speaking of future legislation, there's more in the pipeline. Right now, Congress is discussing additional reforms to Social Security. Some lawmakers are pushing for a flat $2,400 increase for all recipients. Others are calling for new cost of living formulas that better reflect the real costs seniors face, especially for healthcare, food, and housing. There's even talk of raising the income cap so higher earners contribute more to the system, which would help keep the Social Security Trust Fund solvent and strengthen the program for future generations. So stay tuned, this monthly increase may be just the beginning. But let's not overlook what's already happened. For the first time in decades, millions of retirees, especially public servants, are finally being paid what they were owed all along, not just one check, not just a bonus, but every single month, for the rest of their lives. It's not just money, it's recognition, it's justice, it's restoring the dignity that too many were denied for too long. Imagine being a teacher, showing up every day for 35 years, grading papers into the night, guiding children, making a difference, only to be told your benefits would be slashed. That happened to thousands. Imagine being a firefighter, running into burning buildings, or a postal worker who never missed a snowstorm, or a police officer risking everything daily, then at retirement, hearing that your pension disqualified you from full Social Security. That was the reality for decades. But now, for the first time, the system is saying, we see you, we hear you, we're making it right. Now let's talk about some of the most frequently asked questions we've been hearing, and get you the clear answers you deserve. First, do I need to apply for the increase? No, you do not need to apply. The Social Security Administration is automatically adjusting benefits for those who qualify. If you were impacted by the windfall elimination provision or government pension offset and your records reflect that, your payment increase is being handled internally. No paperwork, no special form, no phone call needed. Second, what if I didn't receive the $6,000 lump sum? Don't panic. Your case might still be under review. The SSA is processing each case manually to make sure every calculation is correct. Some payments are still rolling out through the end of this month. Others may take a bit longer if your records need more verification. Third, what if I just started getting Social Security? If you only recently began receiving benefits and were not previously impacted by WEP or GPO, you might not receive the increase from this law, but you're still eligible for regular COLA increases, and you may qualify for future benefit reforms that are currently being debated in Congress. Fourth, can this increase be taken away? No, this is a permanent structural change to your benefit calculation. It's not temporary. It's not tied to an emergency act. It is built into your benefit formula moving forward, for life. Fifth, could this affect my Medicaid, food stamps, or housing? As we said earlier, for at least 12 months, no. These payments will not be counted as income when determining eligibility for most other assistance programs. That was built into the implementation guidelines to protect low-income recipients. Now, let's briefly revisit what you can do right now to make sure everything's on track. Log into your My Social Security portal at SSA.gov. If you don't have one, it's easy to set up. This is where you can see your past deposits, your new monthly amount, and confirm your banking and mailing info is correct. If you've moved recently, changed your bank, or closed an old account, update your information immediately to avoid delays. If your payment is delayed more than 3 business days after your expected date, call the SSA directly using their official contact, not a number you see on social media. Let's also address a very serious warning, because whenever new benefits are being distributed, scammers are never far behind. If you receive a phone call, email, or message on social media asking for your Social Security number, bank info, or to confirm your payment, hang up, delete the message. These are scams. The SSA will never ask for gift cards, cash transfers, or your personal data over the phone or via text. If someone claims they can speed up your payment or help you get more money, they are lying. Report them directly at OIG, SSA.gov. Now, one last thing before we wrap up. If the person entitled to the benefit has passed away, the payment may still be valid if they were alive on or after the effective date of the adjustment. In such cases, the money may become part of their estate. The executor should contact the SSA directly for instructions, but if the person passed before the payment was approved or calculated, the amount may not be paid out. It's handled on a case-by-case basis. To sum it all up, over 2 million people are getting permanent increases. Retroactive payments are averaging $6,000 per person. Monthly boosts of $360 or more are now being deposited. These changes are automatic, tax-free, and protected. You don't need to apply, and no paperwork is required. Your other benefits are safe and won't be impacted for at least a year. This is your moment. It's long overdue, but it's here. And if you've been waiting, watching, and wondering whether your Social Security benefits would ever reflect the true value of your contributions, this is that change. Let's now take a moment to reflect on why this matters so much, not just in terms of money, but in terms of justice. For decades, public servants who gave their lives to education, law enforcement, emergency response, and federal or state service were told that their pensions made them less deserving of full Social Security benefits. That message was wrong. The windfall elimination provision and government pension offset weren't just technicalities. They were policies that erased decades of work for millions of people. This recent change is a correction, and one of the most powerful examples in recent years of the government saying, "We hear you, we acknowledge the mistake, and we're fixing it." So when you see that higher deposit in your account this month, or next month, remember, this isn't a bonus, it's not charity, it's not generosity, this is earned, this is yours, and it's about time you received it. Let's talk about how this update is already changing lives. Some of you have written in the comments to say, "I was finally able to catch up on my electric bill. I got to take my grandkids out for a meal, something I haven't done in years. I bought new eyeglasses and paid for my prescriptions without borrowing." These aren't luxuries, these are the basics, things everyone deserves, especially after a lifetime of service and sacrifice. And what's more, this new baseline, this $360 per month increase, will grow every year. Your COLA will be applied on top of this new amount. That means the boost you just received will help you earn even more in future adjustments. The snowball effect is real, and it's working in your favor. But let's not stop here. While this change is monumental, there are still millions of Americans on fixed incomes, SSI recipients, disabled veterans, widows, low-income retirees, who are still barely scraping by. Rent is up, food costs are up, insurance is through the roof. Which is why new proposals in Congress, like the $2,400 across-the-board benefit increase, matter so much. It's why advocates are pushing to update how COLA is calculated to reflect real inflation seniors experience. And it's why we will continue covering every new update, every new bill, and every potential relief option that may help you, your family, and your community. But right now, if you are one of the over 2 million people receiving this permanent boost, I want you to hear this loud and clear. This is your victory. You waited, you fought, you endured, and now, it's finally your time to breathe a little easier. So what can you do right now to keep yourself, and others, informed and prepared? Stay subscribed and check our channel regularly for updates. We'll keep you posted on every new SSA announcement, reform proposal, and payment detail. Share this video with someone you know, especially public servants and retirees who may not realize they qualify. Leave your questions in the comments, we read them. You've heard me say this before, but it's worth saying again, this is more than a payment, it's recognition, it's respect, it's long overdue fairness. You shouldn't have to beg for what you've earned, you shouldn't have to fight just to be seen, and now, with this update, a major wrong has finally been made right. But we're not done, not by a long shot. Stay with us, because we're going to keep shining a light on what matters most to you. So number 1, log into your MySSA portal, check your info. Number 2, stay informed, watch for updates. Number 3, help others, share this video, leave a comment, let us know when your payment lands, let's celebrate those victories together. This is your money, this is your time, this is your moment. Stay with us, we'll be right here, watching every update, breaking it down, guiding you every step of the way. Thanks for being here, stay safe, stay strong, and we'll see you again very soon. Until then, take care.
Hey everyone, are you ready for some absolutely incredible news? Because what I'm about to tell you isn't just about a one-time payment. We're talking about a permanent monthly boost to your Social Security benefits that starts right now and continues for the rest of your life. I'm talking about an average of $360 more every single month. Forever. That's right. If you were affected by the windfall elimination provision or the government pension offset, your monthly Social Security check just got a massive permanent increase. And when I say permanent, I mean permanent. This isn't going away. This isn't temporary. This is your new reality. Welcome back to the channel where we break down everything you need to know about Social Security, SSDI, SSI, and VA benefits. I'm your host, and today we're diving deep into the most significant Social Security change in decades. The Social Security Fairness Act isn't just about back payments. It's about fundamentally changing how much money you receive every month for the rest of your life. Before we get into all the details, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Because information like this could literally add thousands of dollars to your annual income, and you don't want to miss any updates that could impact your financial future. Let's start with the big picture. The Social Security Fairness Act, signed into law on January 5th, didn't just authorize back payments. It permanently repealed two of the most unfair provisions in Social Security law. The windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset are gone. Forever. And that means your benefits are going up. Forever. Now, I know some of you are thinking, this sounds too good to be true. But let me assure you, this is absolutely real. This is a law passed by Congress, signed by the President, and already being implemented by the Social Security Administration. Over 2 million Americans are seeing their monthly benefits increase right now. Let me break down exactly what this means in real dollars. If you were receiving $1,200 per month in Social Security benefits before the Fairness Act, and you were affected by the WEP, you might now be receiving $1,560 per month. That's an extra $360 every single month. But here's where it gets even better. That increase compounds over time. An extra $360 per month adds up to $4,320 per year. Over 10 years, that's $43,200. Over 20 years, that's $86,400. We're talking about life-changing money. And remember, Social Security benefits are adjusted for cost of living each year. So that $360 monthly increase will grow with inflation. Next year, it might be $370. The year after that, maybe $380. Your purchasing power is protected and enhanced. For those of you who are new to this topic, let me explain what the WEP and GPO were and why their repeal is so significant. The windfall elimination provision was a rule that reduced Social Security benefits for people who also received pensions from jobs where they didn't pay Social Security taxes. This mainly affected public sector workers like teachers, police officers, firefighters, and postal workers. The government pension offset was even worse. It reduced spousal and survivor Social Security benefits for people who received government pensions. In many cases, it completely eliminated these benefits. Imagine being a widow whose Social Security survivor benefits were reduced to zero simply because she had worked as a teacher and received a small pension. These provisions were fundamentally unfair. They penalized people for serving the public. They created a two-tiered system where identical work histories resulted in different Social Security benefits, depending on whether someone had also worked in public service. The Social Security Fairness Act corrected this injustice, and the impact is immediate and permanent. Now, let's talk about who exactly benefits from these changes. If you worked in any job where you didn't pay Social Security taxes, and you also worked in jobs where you did pay Social Security taxes, you were likely affected by the WEP. This includes teachers in many states, police officers, firefighters, federal employees hired before 1984, and employees of state and local governments that opted out of Social Security. If you're receiving spousal or survivor benefits, and you also receive a government pension, you are likely affected by the GPO. This provision was particularly devastating for widows and widowers who saw their Social Security survivor benefits reduced or eliminated. The good news is that all of these reductions are now gone. Your benefits have been recalculated as if the WP and GPO never existed. And that higher amount is what you'll receive every month going forward. If you're still watching, you clearly understand how significant this is. Make sure you're subscribed because I'll be covering every aspect of these changes as more information becomes available. Let me share some real examples of how this is impacting people's lives. I've been getting messages from viewers across the country, and the stories are incredible. One retired teacher wrote, "I worked 30 years in the classroom and 10 years in the private sector. The WEP was reducing my Social Security by $400 per month. Now I'm getting that money back, plus my back payment was over $8,000. I can finally afford my medications without choosing between pills and groceries." A retired police officer shared, "My wife passed away 2 years ago, and the GPO eliminated my survivor benefits completely. Now I'm receiving $1,200 per month in survivor benefits that I should have been getting all along. It's like getting my dignity back." These aren't just numbers. These are real people whose lives have been transformed by this legislation. But let's talk about the mechanics of how this works. The Social Security Administration has been working around the clock to recalculate benefits for everyone affected by the WP and GPO. They're using the same work history and earnings records they've always had, but now they're applying the standard Social Security benefit formula without the WP and GPO reductions. For most people, this process is automatic. You don't need to apply or take any action. The SSA identifies eligible beneficiaries from their existing records and makes the necessary adjustments. However, there are some cases where additional documentation might be needed. If you believe you should be receiving higher benefits but haven't seen an increase, you can contact the SSA to request a review of your case. The timing of when you see the increase depends on your regular Social Security payment schedule. If you normally receive your benefits on the second Wednesday of the month, that's when you'll see your new higher amount. If you receive benefits on the third Wednesday, that's when your increase will appear. Now, let me address some common questions I've been getting about these changes. First, will this affect your taxes? The answer depends on your total income. Social Security benefits can be taxable if your combined income exceeds certain thresholds. Since your benefits are now higher, you might cross into a higher tax bracket. However, for most people, the additional income far outweighs any additional taxes owed. Second, will this affect other benefits you receive? In most cases, no. Social Security benefits generally don't count as income for programs like SNAP, Medicaid, or housing assistance. However, there can be exceptions, so it's worth checking with those programs if you have concerns. Third, what happens if you're already retired but haven't started collecting Social Security yet? If you're in this situation and you were affected by the WP or GPO, your future benefits will be calculated using the new, higher formula. You'll never be subject to those reductions. Fourth, what about people who are still working? If you're still working and paying into Social Security, your future benefits will be calculated without the WP and GPO reductions. This could significantly increase the value of delaying retirement and continuing to work. Let me take a moment to talk about the broader implications of this legislation. The Social Security Fairness Act represents the largest expansion of Social Security benefits in decades. It shows that Congress can act to improve the system when there's sufficient political pressure and clear evidence of unfairness. But it also highlights the need for additional reforms. Social Security faces long-term funding challenges that need to be addressed. However, the passage of the Fairness Act suggests that lawmakers are more likely to strengthen the system rather than cut benefits. There are already discussions about additional improvements to Social Security. Some proposals include raising the minimum benefit, improving cost of living adjustments, and expanding benefits for certain groups like widows and long-term low earners. The momentum created by the Fairness Act could lead to these additional improvements in the coming years. For those of you who are receiving these higher benefits, let me offer some financial advice. First, take some time to adjust your budget to reflect your new income level. An extra $360 per month can make a significant difference in your quality of life. Consider using some of the additional income to build an emergency fund if you don't already have one. Even a small emergency fund can provide peace of mind and help you avoid debt when unexpected expenses arise. If you have high-interest debt, using some of the additional income to pay it down faster could save you money in the long run. You might also want to review your retirement planning. If you're still working, the higher Social Security benefits might allow you to retire earlier than you originally planned. Or you might choose to work longer and save more, knowing that your Social Security benefits will be higher when you do retire. Now, let's talk about what this means for your spouse and family. If you're married, the elimination of the GPO means your spouse might be eligible for higher spousal benefits. If you pass away, your spouse will be eligible for higher survivor benefits. This is particularly important for couples where one spouse worked in public service and the other worked in the private sector. The GPO often created situations where the public sector worker's spouse received little or no Social Security benefits despite the private sector worker paying into the system for decades. With the GPO eliminated, these families can now receive the full Social Security benefits they've earned. Let me share another real-world example. A retired firefighter and his wife contacted me recently. He had worked 25 years for the fire department and received a pension. His wife had worked in the private sector for 35 years and was eligible for Social Security benefits. Under the old rules, the GPO reduced his wife's spousal Social Security benefits to zero. They were living on his fire department pension and her Social Security benefits alone. Now, with the GPO eliminated, he's eligible for spousal benefits based on her work record. That's an additional $800 per month for their household. Combined with the elimination of the WEP on his own Social Security benefits from part-time work he did before joining the fire department, their total monthly income increased by over $1,000. That's the kind of life-changing impact this legislation is having on families across America. But let's also talk about the economic impact of these changes. When millions of people receive hundreds of dollars more each month, that money gets spent in local communities. It goes to grocery stores, pharmacies, restaurants, and other local businesses. This creates jobs and generates tax revenue at the local, state, and federal levels. It's a classic example of how investing in people creates broader economic benefits. Economists estimate that every dollar of Social Security benefits generates about $1.50 in economic activity. So the billions of dollars in additional benefits created by the Fairness Act will generate even more economic activity. This is good news for everyone, not just Social Security recipients. Now, I want to address something important. Some people are concerned that these benefit increases will accelerate the depletion of the Social Security Trust Fund. While it's true that higher benefits mean higher costs, the impact is relatively small in the context of the overall Social Security system. The Congressional Budget Office estimated that the Fairness Act would cost about $196 billion over 10 years. That sounds like a lot, but Social Security pays out over $1 trillion per year. So we're talking about less than a 2% increase in total costs. More importantly, there are many proposals to strengthen Social Security's finances that would more than offset the cost of the Fairness Act. These include raising the cap on wages subject to Social Security taxes, adjusting the benefit formula, and making other reforms. The point is, the Fairness Act doesn't threaten Social Security's long-term viability. If anything, it demonstrates the value of the program and builds political support for additional reforms to ensure its sustainability. For those of you who are still waiting to see your benefit increase, don't worry. The Social Security Administration is working through millions of cases, and it takes time to recalculate benefits and update payment systems. If you believe you should be receiving higher benefits but haven't seen an increase after several months, you can contact the SSA to request a review. Have your Social Security number and work history information ready when you call. You can also check your benefit amount online through your My Social Security account. This will show your current benefit amount and any recent changes. Let me take a moment to address the scam situation again. Unfortunately, scammers are trying to take advantage of confusion about these benefit changes. They're calling people and claiming they need to update their information to receive the higher benefits. This is completely false. The benefit increases are automatic if you're eligible. You don't need to provide any additional information or take any action. If someone calls claiming to be from Social Security and asks for personal information, hang up immediately. The Social Security Administration will never ask for sensitive information over the phone. All legitimate communications about your benefits will come through official mail or through your secure My Social Security online account. As we start to wrap up, let me emphasize how historic this moment is. For decades, public sector workers and their families were penalized by unfair Social Security rules. They were told they were getting a windfall when they were simply receiving benefits they had earned. The Social Security Fairness Act corrected this injustice. It recognized that public service is valuable and that people who serve their communities shouldn't be penalized in retirement. This legislation affects teachers who educated our children, police officers who kept our communities safe, firefighters who risked their lives to protect us, and countless other public servants who dedicated their careers to helping others. They deserve to retire with dignity, and now they can. But this is also about more than just Social Security benefits. It's about recognizing the value of public service and ensuring that people who choose to serve their communities aren't financially penalized for that choice. It's about fairness and treating all workers equally regardless of where they worked or what type of pension they earned. And it's about the power of advocacy and persistence. This legislation didn't happen overnight. It took years of advocacy by affected workers, their unions, and their representatives in Congress. It shows that change is possible when people organize and make their voices heard. For those of you receiving these higher benefits, you should feel proud. You earned these benefits through your work and your advocacy. You didn't give up when you were told the system couldn't be changed. And for those of you who aren't directly affected by this legislation, remember that a stronger Social Security system benefits everyone. When retirees have adequate income, they're less likely to need other forms of assistance. They're more likely to remain independent and contribute to their communities. A strong Social Security system is good for families, good for communities, and good for the economy. As we look to the future, this legislation sets an important precedent. It shows that Congress can act to improve Social Security when there's clear evidence of unfairness and sufficient political pressure. There are other areas where Social Security could be improved. The minimum benefit is too low. Cost of living adjustments don't always keep pace with seniors' actual expenses. Some groups, like widows and long-term low earners, face particular challenges. The success of the Fairness Act creates momentum for addressing these issues as well. Before we finish, let me recap the key points. The Social Security Fairness Act has permanently eliminated the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. This means higher monthly benefits for over 3 million Americans, with an average increase of about $360 per month. These increases are permanent and will grow with cost of living adjustments over time. The changes are automatic if you're eligible, and you don't need to take any action. In addition to higher monthly benefits, eligible recipients are also receiving lump sum back payments averaging about $6,700. This legislation represents the most significant improvement to Social Security in decades and creates momentum for additional reforms. If you found this information helpful, please hit that like button and share this video with anyone who might benefit from these changes. Your support helps us reach more people with important information like this. Drop a comment below and let me know. Have you seen your benefit increase yet? How is the extra monthly income impacting your life? What does financial security mean to you? I read every comment and will do my best to answer your questions. And make sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on because I'll be covering every development in this story. Thank you for watching, and congratulations to everyone who's benefiting from these long overdue changes. You earned it, you deserve it, and it's finally here. I'll see you in the next video with more updates on Social Security, SSDI, SSI, and VA benefits. Until then, enjoy your higher benefits and the financial security.
$6,700 back pay, and Social Security is sending out massive lump sum payments right now to millions of public servants who finally got justice after 40 years of fighting. I have got all the incredible details for you here, including who is getting these payments, how much money is going out, the life-changing monthly increases that are happening every single day, and the amazing stories of real people whose lives are being transformed. We have got absolutely fantastic news to cover, so let's get right into it. First off, I want to make this crystal clear. Everything I am talking about here directly affects public servants who had their Social Security benefits stolen by the windfall elimination provision and the government pension offset. This includes teachers, police officers, firefighters, postal workers, federal employees, and state and local government workers who dedicated their lives to serving others. If you are one of these heroes, or if you know someone who is, this information is going to change everything. Social Security is sending out back payments right now. In fact, well over $6,700 per person on average is what is going out. And yes, it is also a fact that Social Security has sent out well over $15 billion to these people in these back payments. To be more precise about it, about $15. $3 billion has already gone out the door to these millions of people. It is a lot of money. But guess what? They still have about another $6 billion, give or take a little bit here, that they're going to be sending out this month to more beneficiaries. So yes, all of this is fact. This was confirmed by the Social Security Acting Commissioner Frank Bisagno. He was out recently in an interview about a week and a half or so ago, and he confirmed that these massive payments are real and they are happening right now. This is not speculation. This is not wishful thinking. This is confirmed fact from the highest levels of the Social Security Administration. This is about the Social Security Fairness Act that finally passed after 40 years of fighting. Let me tell you the incredible story of how this happened. It passed through the House of Representatives in November with overwhelming bipartisan support. It passed through the Senate in December with senators from both parties recognizing the injustice that had been happening for decades. And it was signed into law by the president on January 5th of this year in a ceremony that brought tears to the eyes of public servants who had been fighting for this moment their entire careers. This is the legislation that repealed the two long-standing provisions, the WEP windfall elimination provision and the GPO government pension offset. Both of those were in effect since the early 80s and late 1977, and then the early 80s. So what is that, 40-some-odd years ago? Yeah, 40, almost 50 years ago for both of these two provisions that came in and were offsetting benefit checks for about 2 million people, give or take a little. These beneficiaries, because of the repeal of those provisions, are getting these large back pay retroactive payments because technically the legislation, this law that was passed, not only was it signed into law this January 5th of this year, but it goes all the way back to January of last year. So these retroactive payments are literally just catching people up from what they should have been getting in their monthly benefit checks going back to January of last year. Let me tell you what this means for real people. The average back pay retroactive payment that is going out is $6,710. That is the average. Obviously, some are higher, some are lower, but that is the average. Not bad, right? I think any of us would be super happy with a big old $6,710 lump sum retroactive back pay payment. But here is the thing. Many people are getting much more than that average. Patricia, a retired teacher from Ohio, just received a $19,000 retroactive payment, and her monthly benefit increased from $1,200 to $1,650. That is an extra $450 per month for life. Think about what that means. Patricia taught for 35 years, spending her own money on classroom supplies, staying late to help struggling students, and working weekends to grade papers and prepare lessons. She dedicated her life to educating our children, and for years she was being punished for that choice. When Patricia retired, she discovered that her Social Security benefits were being reduced by $450 per month because of the windfall elimination provision. She went from expecting $1,650 per month to only receiving $1,200. That $450 reduction meant she had to choose between prescription medications and groceries. She had to cancel plans to visit her grandchildren. She had to give up activities she had looked forward to in retirement. But now Patricia has received justice. That $19,000 retroactive payment allowed her to pay off debts that had accumulated during her years of reduced benefits. She was able to catch up on medical expenses she had been putting off. She was able to help her daughter with unexpected car repairs. And most importantly, she now has the financial security to live with dignity in retirement. Michael, a retired police officer from Texas, received an even larger payment. He got a $23,000 retroactive payment, and his monthly benefit jumped from $1,800 to $2,350. That is an extra $550 per month for the rest of his life. Michael spent 30 years in law enforcement, working dangerous night shifts, responding to domestic violence calls, and putting his life on the line to protect his community. When Michael retired, he was shocked to discover that his Social Security benefits were being reduced because he had also earned a pension from his police work. The system was essentially punishing him for choosing a career in public safety. That $550 monthly reduction meant Michael had to take a part-time job in retirement just to make ends meet. He was working security at a local store, standing on his feet for hours despite chronic back pain from years of police work. But now Michael can finally retire with dignity. That $23,000 retroactive payment allowed him to quit his part-time job and focus on his health. He was able to get the back surgery he had been putting off because he could not afford the time away from work. He was able to take his wife on the anniversary trip they had been planning for years but could never afford. Sarah, a federal employee widow from California, had her survivor benefits completely restored. She went from receiving nothing to getting $2,400 per month in survivor benefits, plus a retroactive payment of $43,200 covering the 18 months she was denied benefits. Sarah's story is particularly heartbreaking and inspiring. Sarah worked for the federal government for 25 years, processing veterans' benefits and helping military families navigate the bureaucracy. Her husband worked in the private sector for 30 years, paying into Social Security and building up benefits for both of them. When her husband died suddenly of a heart attack, Sarah expected to receive survivor benefits based on his work record. But the government pension offset completely eliminated her survivor benefits. The system told her that because she received a federal pension, she was not entitled to the Social Security benefits her husband had worked 30 years to provide for her. Sarah went from a two-income household to living solely on her federal pension, which was not enough to maintain her standard of living. Sarah had to sell the home she and her husband had shared for 20 years. She had to move in with her adult daughter, giving up her independence and privacy. She felt like the government she had served faithfully for 25 years had abandoned her in her time of greatest need. But now Sarah has received justice. That $43,200 retroactive payment allowed her to get her own apartment again and regain her independence. The $2,400 monthly survivor benefit means she can live with dignity and security. She can afford to maintain her health, visit her grandchildren, and enjoy the retirement she and her husband had planned together. These are not isolated stories. These are representative of what is happening to millions of public servants across the country. Teachers, police officers, firefighters, federal employees, postal workers, and state and local government workers are all receiving similar restorations of their benefits. The processing is happening in waves based on different retirement systems. Federal employees under CSRS and FERS have been largely processed. Most